February 14th, 1818, an African American infant called Frederick Augustus Washington Bailey is born on Talbot County, Maryland, United States. Newborn with so many possibilities wrapped like a gift box. So, what's the first title our little Frederick gained as soon as he's born? Slave. Frederick was ripped away from his family and was transported around different locations like a material, just like how all the other slaves were treated in the world. When Frederick was 5, he was transported to Colonel Lloyd's home, and he saw countless enslaved black children working like a dog, fighting each other just to eat. The age of 5 in a normal world is an age where kids run around, play balls, and cause trouble. But this wasn't a normal world. Frederick's caretakers were two white people, Hugh and Sophia. Generic ruthless slave owner and a wife of a slave owner. Both of them would have treated Frederick as a property, but Sophia did not. Frederick's job was to take care of their children, therefore he spent a lot of time with Sophia. And Sophia taught him how to read and write every time they crossed paths, giving him knowledge and ideas that most African Americans at the time had no capability of even achieving. It seemed like genuine kindness would coexist with Frederick's heartbreaking childhood. But no, of course not. This is slavery. Hugh figured out and changed Sophia from a kind-hearted woman to an absolute devil-like being. She constantly abused Frederick with no remorse whatsoever. But the fire of knowledge was already given, and there's no turning back. Frederick was transported to multiple plantations to work as a slave, but this time he had a lot more knowledge than before. 1838. Frederick was working in Baltimore, and one day he decided to join a religious meeting outside of Baltimore only for 2 days. When Frederick came back, the slave owner was furious, threatening him, abusing him once more. That was the moment Frederick realized to truly gain freedom and be able to do things he wants to do and go places he wants to go, Frederick needed to escape. On September, Frederick disguised as a black sailor and escaped to New York City. He disguised as a black sailor, knowing there was a rule that guaranteed the protection of all black sailors in America. Frederick successfully escaped without being noticed. Frederick, as a free man, was a very educated, emphatic reader. He constantly had a speech about how inhumane and wrong slavery was. Even with the risk of being captured, he did not hesitate. And one day, his bravery was awarded. Frederick's eloquent speech caught a member of an anti-slave group, William C. Coffin's attention. William suggested that Frederick should join the group so he could spread the speeches across the entire country. Frederick agreed with no hesitation. Automatically, the influence of Frederick's speech started to flourish, culminating in Frederick publishing his first autobiography to show how painful slave life is. Also, it was to show that Frederick was a former slave and his speeches about how terrible slave life was were very reliable. Frederick's influence grew even more after the autobiography. As the Civil War began, Frederick Douglass argued that black people must have a chance to fight alongside the Unions because if the Civil War was a fight to free all slaves, then black people must help the fight for their freedom. Frederick's words spread across the country, and he was soon promoted to be a recruiter of the black infantry. Black men having this much influence on the country was unreal at the time, and Frederick's influence reached its critical level as he was invited to the White House by Abraham Lincoln himself. They discussed many different subjects, such as what can they do to help the black soldiers to adjust and what will happen to the black soldiers when unions fail. Frederick went to become the consultant of Lincoln during the Civil War. Even after the end of the war, Frederick continued to speak his mind, defending the 14th Amendment. At this point, it was clear as a day that Frederick Douglass became a national icon of the United States. Frederick moved to Washington, D.C. He gained many ranks, such as becoming the first black U.S. Marshal in 1877. Frederick also became a U.S. minister resident in 1889. After serving his positions, he went to Cedar Hill to spend the rest of his life. After many peaceful days of retirement, Frederick had a heart attack on February 20th, 1895. Born with a miserable life awaiting him, Frederick had turned his destiny around by pure willpower and knowledge. Maybe Frederick is remembered even to this day because he represents how everyone has a chance of achieving a better life. Thanks for watching.